We want to personally welcome you out today to the I Am Salt Lake podcast. If this is your first time listening to us and you're like, what is this podcast all about? What is this podcast that I downloaded, that I stumbled upon? Well, this podcast is all about showcasing awesome people right here in Salt Lake City. We talk to musicians, authors, business owners, restaurant owners, breweries, distilleries. I think you guys get the idea. Really, anyone that might have a cool story, we're talking to them. Welcome to episode 356. My name is Chris.
And my name's Christina. Today we're actually recording out of our brand new podcast studio. It's located in the back of Empire Merchandise in beautiful downtown Salt Lake City. Okay, that's right. Yes, we've moved again. And we're going to tell you more about that after our interview on today's podcast.
I bet you people are always like, gosh, you guys are moving all the time.
Look, we've stuff to do. We're busy.
Hey, also, we have to mention, we won Best Podcast for City Weekly's 2018 Best of Utah Awards that they do every year. You know, guys, we are truly honored to have won this award, and we could not have done this without our awesome listeners. Without your guys' voting for us, means a lot to us.
It does. We're really nothing without you guys. That's what's so wonderful.
Thank you, each and every one of you. Truly an honor to win Reader's Choice Best Podcast for Utah.
Today on the podcast, we get to sit down and talk with Scott Porter from San Diablo Artisan Churros. Scott has a really awesome story, and we're going to be getting into a good chunk of it. Scott shares with us what inspired him to start making churros, obstacles he ran into when he started, and actually some amazing business advice that we can all learn from.
He even brought churros to the interview, but you guys know I'm doing the keto diet, so I had to say no.
I just had to eat all of them in front of you. It was really sad. They were so delicious. But before we jump into that interview, let's give some quick love to our sponsors for this episode: Limitless Labs, Five Wives Vodka, and the Salt Lake Barber Company. We're going to be telling you more about them later on in the show.
Hey, don't forget to head on over to our website. It's iamsaltlake.com. Really easy. This is where you can get lost and dig through the entire back catalog of episodes. Don't forget to sign up for the email list while you're there. That way you can stay up to date on everything going on with the podcast.
Okay, here's that conversation we had with Scott Porter. Thank you so much for listening. Enjoy.
You've listened to a few episodes of the podcast. Yeah. You've probably heard us ask, what did your childhood smell like? You're a man about smells, because I'm sure with the churros, right, with the smells. So I'm eager for your response here. I know that's a lot of pressure.
I'll just start out with a true confession. I don't eat sugar.
Okay.
How weird is that? I run a churro business.
It's kind of impressive that you can make something so tasty.
I want to find out why you chose churros, but
sure.
I need to know what your childhood smelled like.
Well, that's what I'm getting at, is that I don't eat sugar. And so the smell is so important to me when I'm making the churros, even though this dough was just made a couple of days ago. And when we cook it fresh and it's coming out of the oil, and we put we grind our own cinnamon and put that with the sugar. And so anyway, it just has this amazing fresh smell to it. And so that fills me. It's so weird. But so smell is really important to me because
that's how you base everything off of.
I don't taste all of the different filling flavors. So the smell of my childhood, I grew up in Canada, in southern Alberta. I had an amazing childhood. As smells, we lived for having sleepovers at my friends' houses, and they lived on farms. We were on the outskirts of the city in Lethbridge, and they lived on farms. And so we would, every Saturday, we were out like rolling around in the hay bales. Like the mother cat like gave birth to kittens. The cow gave birth to these baby calves, and or do they do them one at a time? I guess. Maybe.
So wait, you grew up on a farm? You grew up on a farm?
I did not grow up on a farm. I had friends on farms, and so it was the best. We would go. I lived on the outskirts of the city, and then went to their farms on the weekends to have a sleepover and just collect eggs in the morning, pick berries.
That's the best, because you get to do all the good parts of living on a farm with your friends,
exactly,
without all the hard work every morning. You know,
it was awesome. Milk the cows, yeah, exactly. But when it's a novelty, it's cool.
You love it,
right?
Yeah.
So what brought you to Utah then, from Canada of all places?
Well, so I've been all over the place. So my childhood was in Canada. I was born in Arizona. It's a long story, but I found out I was also a Canadian citizen when I was 28 years old.
Wait, so you didn't know you were a Canadian citizen
Correct,
the whole
because
time?
I was born. Well, yeah, I was flying back. I was living in Seattle at the time, in between undergrad and grad school, and flying for the first time to Canada. This was pre 9/11, and so all the other times we'd crossed the border, you didn't even need a passport. You didn't even show ID between Canada and the United States, and so my first time flying into Canada from the U.S., I get to the airport late, and they say, "Can I see your passport?" I'm like, "My passport? I'm going to Canada. I don't need a passport." She's like, "Yeah, when you fly, you need a passport." Well, that would have been really nice to have known that before I got to the airport. Get to the airport, I'm like, what else can I do? This was pre-cell phone, anything. Like I couldn't call and get my paperwork brought to me or anything. And she's like, well, if you fax me a copy of your birth certificate or your passport, I can let you on the plane. Fax, right? Fax.
Wow.
And so I go over to the payphone, and I'm praying that my mom answers the phone. And sure enough, she answers. I'm like, Mom, I don't have time to explain. I'm going to Ryan's wedding. I need a copy of my birth certificate.
And approximately how old were you at this time?
I was 28.
28, okay. Just following along.
And she says, well, what do you need your passport for? Just tell them you're Canadian. And I'm like, but Mom, I'm not. She's like, yes, you are. Mom, I am not Canadian. I was born in Arizona. She said, yeah, I know. I was there. And
hopefully
I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm Canadian. She said, what are you talking about? I've, registered or all of you as dual citizens. Mom, I am 28 years old. Why are you just telling me about this for the first time in my life?
That would have been nice to know.
And yeah. So I'm having this identity crisis in the phone booth, right? Like, what else have you not told me? Is Dad my father? Like, what else is going on? And so I'm like, I don't even know who I am anymore. Can you please just fax this? We'll have to talk about this later. I got to get on the plane. And so I go back up to the counter and I say, well, turns out I'm Canadian. And she's like, okay, that's weird. Checks the fax machine, let me on the plane. So anyway, that's how I found out I was Canadian.
So you're Canadian in United States?
I was,
or are you just a Canadian?
Dual citizen. So I was born in Arizona, but
so you can vote here, you can vote there.
Yeah.
I mean, well, Canada.
But
man.
anyway, so I was in Canada and then went to BYU twice, undergrad and grad school.
What'd you go for?
Public relations, undergrad. Then I worked in Seattle for 5 years and went back to Brigham Young University, got my MBA there. Amazing experience. And then lived in Southern California for a while, ran a couple of nursing homes in Southern California, and then moved to Washington, D.C. I lived there for a couple of years doing consulting for Fortune 500 companies in Latin America. And then came back to Southern California, back in senior healthcare for a couple of years. And then some friends and I launched an airline, the first all-you-can-fly membership airline in Southern California called Surf Air.
Wait, all-you-can-eat airline?
All you can fly. Yeah, all you can eat, all you can fly, yeah.
Oh, all you can, so wait, all you can fly?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So
I was going to say all you can eat, like what is this?
It's a buffet in the sky, right?
Dude, I would take that airplane all the time.
Dude,
right?
that's the only airline I would take if that
Right?
existed. Oh,
No.
yeah.
You're not even that old, man. You know, I mean,
I know, how'd you do all
you don't
this?
look that old. We don't need to get
We
into
haven't
that,
even
but
got into
I mean, you're an entrepreneur. I mean,
I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I remember, you talk about the smell of childhood. I remember my very first entrepreneurial venture. I was probably like 9 years old, and I wanted to create a neighborhood newspaper. And so, typewriter underneath the stairs in my parents' our basement at our house, and my friend and I reported on very important things going on in our neighborhood. Where people were going on vacation, what their parents did. And then the photocopied it. I think they called it Xerox back then, right? Mm-hmm. And then sold it back to everyone in the neighborhood for about 25 cents.
I did something very similar. Yeah, I did a family newsletter that I sold to the family all over the U.S. And then I did it like a neighborhood little thing. And then later on, I did a zine and all of that. But
cool.
Wow, that is, I mean, how many years did you go to BYU then for? I mean, you must have
I did undergrad and then grad school. So 6 years total.
Quite a few years you spent down in Utah County.
Utah County.
Yeah.
And then after the airline, after Surf Air, then I was kind of toggling back and forth between Southern California and Utah, and working on a couple of tech startups that ended up falling through. And so I found myself here, had sublet my place in LA. And I'm like, man, I might as well start another business. I'd never done anything in food, and I love food, particularly Mexican food, all food, but I just
Mexican's the best.
Right?
So wait, do you still have a place in California?
No,
then?
I don't.
I was going to say, I'll rent it from you when I go down there.
No
just
joke.
To visit,
I mean,
right?
especially now that it's getting to be so cold, it's I just long for those flip-flop days, right?
So San Diablo Artisan Churros.
Yes.
That's what you're doing now. That's kind of what our main focal point. And you actually brought some churros with you.
And this is the first time I'm really glad that I've come to a recording and not eaten.
So, just to give listeners, and we might reiterate this in the beginning, we met you at a Creative Mornings.
Yeah.
It was a Creative Mornings SLC.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Christina and I were doing a little
giving a talk,
a presentation, speak about honesty. You had churros there, which I was like, oh my gosh, this guy is bringing churros. You were baking them, or what do you?
You were like you were the main feature, the main food feature
in one of the office rooms. So you travel around to businesses and do this,
right?
And I was like, I got to get this guy on the podcast and find out his story because it's so fascinating. How did this start? How long have you been doing it? What's a little bit of the history there?
Yeah. So we've been San Diablo Artisan Churros started about 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we specialize in catering and special events. And we now have a food truck. We've had that for a couple of months, about 4 months. We're growing, and it's been an amazing journey here in Salt Lake. I mean, it's such a wonderful atmosphere, super supportive entrepreneurial ecosystem here. As far as friends and colleagues, and going to Creative Mornings, and people try it and like it, and then they say, hey, come and do a podcast, or come and cater our next company event or something. And very, very supportive environment here. I've loved it. But the churros, the thing that makes that is a little bit different about how we do things. So our churros are made fresh from scratch. We actually, our pastry chef crafted the recipe we had two pastry chefs working on it. Mindy Booth, who
that name sounds familiar.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Is she a musician? No.
Oh, there's another Mindy Gledhill is a musician.
Maybe that's who I'm thinking.
Yeah,
of.
Mindy Booth is equally amazing and really musically talented too. But she was a former VP at Goldman Sachs and decided to just quit and pursue her passion of baking. Wow. And so right around this time when she was doing that, she had shortly had left Goldman Sachs, and I called her up. It's actually, have either of you been to Corn Bellies, the Harvest Festival at Thanksgiving Point?
Yeah, well, I have been quite a few years ago.
Yeah, like the maize and the
just kind of the Thanksgiving or Halloween time.
Yeah. Gotta love a corn maze, right? Is that a Utah thing?
I mean, they're all over.
Yeah. But it just seems like everybody here wants to do a corn maze. I mean, come on.
Totally.
It's kind of dangerous, like you could get lost. But it's still safe.
Come on, Chrissy, you're not going to get lost in a corn maze. Anyway,
I'm going to get lost in a corn maze.
It's kind of interesting how it came about. I had my first fresh filled churros in Mexico City years ago. There's kind of like this neighborhood in Mexico City. Have either of you been there?
No, my brother has.
Tijuana is as close.
Okay. Well,
my
that's
brother
good.
served his
Baby
mission
steps.
there.
We'll get you there. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. We may talk about this, but I think everyone needs to go to Mexico City at some point in their life. It is.
Are you paying
amazing
to the airfare to go?
We can see what we can do to figure this out. I mean, it's that important. It's kind of like this Mecca experience. I mean, you've got to go. The best tacos you will ever have in your life. And I'm
right
usually
there
an
in
under
Mexico
promise,
City.
over deliver kind of guy, but this is.
You know what I would like to try if I ever go down there is the corn that they make, like the Mexican corn.
Yeah,
I've only had the Americanized version of it. The street corn.
Oh man.
Wow.
I'm serious. Best.
So good.
Italians and French will disagree, but in my opinion, the best food city in the world
is Mexico City.
Interesting.
We'll go.
Let's
Next
go.
vacation.
I do taco tours to Mexico City.
So basically, you're
freaking
saying
way.
I'll take
people can
my gosh.
take you, hire you, bring you along, pay for your airfare, the whole 9 yards. You got to.
Yeah.
So these churros.
So anyway,
Yeah.
the churros. I lived in Mexico City. I was doing an internship there for a while, and I had these filled churros. Why don't we have churros this good in America?
Del Taco.
True. Yes. And I mean, all the churros that I had known were like Disneyland, and this was even before Costco had churros, you know? And so I'm like, gosh, they make them fresh. They fill them right there. They're amazing. And I thought this would just be irresponsible not to bring these back to America.
Sure.
Right. And so I had this in the back of my head, just like when you travel, you see something and you think, gosh, it'd be awesome to have that. That'd be awesome to bring that home. Well, it was in the back of my head for years and years and years. And then when it just kind of the stars aligned, opportunity came up and I'm like, you know what? Let's start a food business. And there's a bigger picture at play here. Throughout my entire very eclectic career, I have had a passion for exceptional customer experience. And I have a system and a framework that I've used in the different businesses that I've run. And I thought I'd never done anything in food before, and I'd love to see it work in food. How we can create an experience that's so unique and different that becomes really like one of your key competitive advantages and like your biggest marketing tool. And that's how you create evangelists that are out there talking about you and helping you grow your business, is by creating something that's so special. And so I wanted to see that in action in food. And I thought, well, let's make churros happen. So the reason why I bring up corn bellies is I was at my friend Chad and Amber's house. We call him Chamber. I was at Chamber's house.
I love it.
Clearly, right?
Yeah.
That's adorable.
They're amazing. And they're like, you got to start this churro business. And where am I going to launch? I mean, I didn't know how to really go about it. And
because you've never done anything with food.
Never done anything in food. And I'm like, I don't think retail is the right play here.
Did you even know how to make churros, or did you have to kind of figure out?
So it's interesting. So they said, let's go, what about launching at Corn Bellies? It's like a 6-week long thing. You could be there consistently every day for a while. People get to know you and you can pitch like doing catering. I'm like, okay, that sounds great.
Yeah.
I call Corn Bellies. And I said, hey, I see that you're looking for vendors. Yeah, what do you sell? I'm like, fresh filled churros. And she's like, oh my gosh, I love churros. I love filled churros. And I said, really? Where have you had filled churros? Because it's not a super common thing unless
it's really
you spent
not.
time abroad.
You were like, somebody stole my idea.
Well, and she says, and this is what she said, it's been my dream to have gourmet churros at Corn Bellies.
No way.
I said, well, your dream's ready to come true. Let's make this happen.
Sure.
And she says, well, how long have you been in business? And I'm like, we would be launching at Corn Bellies. And she's like, oh.
Ooh. I'm
like, sensing the extreme hesitation in her voice.
What were you feeling then? Did you feel like, well, maybe I need to lie a little bit here?
Well, no, I mean, I'm like, I've got to be upfront about this because, I mean, there's no way she's going to find out.
She's going to research you and realize, oh, it's not a company yet. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, look, why don't we do this? I will bring you and everyone that's involved in the decision churros. So you were
can
already sample them.
You were already making them.
No. So she's like, oh, that'd be a great idea. We need to know what we're getting ourselves into. And she's like, actually, we're meeting in 3 days, 15 people. And if you can bring us churros, that'd be great. And so I'm like, absolutely, I'll be there. Hang up the phone. I'm like, holy freak. Like, what am I doing? I had only made the recipe twice. I had...
and you couldn't even taste the recipe to see if you liked it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. We didn't have a name. We didn't have a team. We didn't have any equipment. No equipment. This was an idea. And I'm like, oh, let's make this happen. So The very first call I made was to Mindy Booth. I called her. I'm like, Mindy, I think I'm launching a churro business. Can you help me figure this out tomorrow? Can we test out all the churro dough all day tomorrow and figure this out? Sure, she says. Absolutely, let's do this. So 3-day scramble, got everything ready, decided on San Diablo as the name, and registered it, mocked up our logo and everything, pretended like we were an actual company, and did the tasting, and they loved them, and they said, actually, we think that these would do so well. We think you should have 2 booths at Corn Bellies. And I'm like, awesome.
Is
Absolutely.
that big of a place to have 2 booths?
And
though?
how bad are you sweating while all this is happening?
You know what? I'm just like laughing inside because any of my friends that know me too, they're like, yeah, this is just par for the course. This is the way that
you just say you're going to do it and you do it.
Yeah.
I love it,
We'll
though.
figure it out.
I know.
So Corn Bellies is what kicked us off, and it was great. And then people were always asking, oh, do you guys have a store somewhere? No, we go where the party is. Do you want to hire us for catering? So
you started getting catering
So we just
gigs.
started pitching catering and have been growing and have had just tremendous growth over the past couple of years. It's been amazing. Yeah. We're really grateful that Utah loves sugar as much as they do.
They do. It is a highly sugared place here. We need to actually take a quick break, play a message here from our sponsors. But then when we come back, obviously we've just kind of skimmed the surface with these churros. So we're going to talk more about that, Scott. So hang tight. We'll be right back. All right. We actually have a brand new sponsor for this episode, Limitless Labs. We're going to be telling you all about them. But one thing I want you to remember, listeners of this podcast, when you support our sponsors, you're actually supporting the podcast. So it's kind of a win-win. You support them, you support us. It's really, really cool. Like I said, Limitless Labs is the sponsor for this episode. They have an amazing product. It's called Brain Hero. Brain Hero is an all-natural formula with no fillers. It's brain food based on the latest neuroscience. It's made, manufactured, and fulfilled right here in Salt Lake City. I started taking this stuff a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, all right, what's this stuff? I'll try it out. It really does. It supports focus, energy, and memory. And I know you actually had an amazing experience on using this stuff as well, Christina.
It's been so, I wish I could even explain to you how incredible this stuff makes me feel. I have a strong history of ADHD, and I tend to get brain fog very often. I get tired when I'm sitting, and I actually have a really hard time focusing for the majority of my life. I started taking this a couple of weeks ago, and I ended up having to go to a conference for work
out in Boston.
I'm always a little bit nervous about places where I'm going to have to go and sit for extended periods of time because my brain just doesn't handle it well. And taking this changed my entire experience. I was able to sit for, 3 days straight for 8 hours and take in all the information I was learning. I had workshops, I listened to talks, and I was very alert the whole time. I understood everything. I was very attentive, and I never got that usual feeling that I get when I'm not taking this. And I've taken multivitamins in the past. I've taken a lot of things to try to help me, and there's just something so unique about Brain Hero. I'm so grateful for it.
That is so awesome. Check out their website, brainheropill.com. Really easy to remember, brainheropill.com. We actually have a really cool offer for our listeners of the podcast. If you use the discount code IamSaltLake at checkout when you buy a bottle of Brain Hero, they're going to give you a 1 month bottle of Tranquil Sleep, which is the $30 value as well. So you're getting like 2 bottles. Really, really cool. Each bottle of Brain Hero is a 1 month supply. It supports focus, energy, and memory. Again, brainheropill.com. Use the discount code IamSaltLake. Grab yourself a bottle of Tranquil Sleep as well. I'd love to hear your stories as well. Christina's story blew me away when she came home from Boston.
You didn't even expect it. I came back. I didn't tell you about my experience until I came back because I was like, I can't wait to tell Chris how much I've really enjoyed using this.
And I've noticed extreme focus and memory as well, taking this stuff. I'm excited to keep taking it. Like I said, we've only been doing it for a few weeks and great results.
And it's great because it's natural. It's real stuff that's good for you. It's not just like downing a bunch of caffeine, that will hype you up for a little bit, make you jittery and crash. This is like really healthy for you and for your brain.
And many thanks to Limitless Labs for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. don't forget to head on over to brainheropill.com. All right, this episode of the podcast is also sponsored by our friends at Five Wives Vodka. I know our longtime listeners, you guys hear us talk about them every week, but you know what? They're great, and they're awesome for sponsoring the podcast. So you can go buy a bottle of Five Wives Vodka at the local liquor store or get a shot at the bar, and you're supporting the podcast. It's really cool.
That's a win-win, really.
They have 3 different flavors, which of the Five Wives Vodka. I know we talk about them on every episode, but we actually just tried the potato. What is it? The potato vodka?
Potato vodka.
Premium potato vodka.
You know what's so funny? I was so excited when because it just came out, right? So we ran to the DABC and I went to go buy some. We were so quick to jump on it that they hadn't even got it really in the system yet, and they couldn't even scan it. So we had to manually enter it so I could buy it.
We actually found it right at the downtown liquor store at 400 South and 200 West if you're looking for a bottle of this potato vodka.
Yeah, it's so good. I had some last night, and I mixed up a drink with some pear juice and put some Bitters Lab in there and made a little cocktail. It was fantastic.
And like I said, they actually have 3 other flavors. Let's skim through these really quick. They have the original flavor. This is made from Utah Mountain spring water. It's 100% distilled corn spirit, and it's gluten-free.
And Five Wives Sinful is a flavored vodka with a delicious cinnamon taste. It's not like other cinnamon products that give you a cinnamon candy taste. Sinful's more like a morning cinnamon roll with only 76 calories per ounce.
They also have the Five Wives Heavenly. This is another one of their flavored vodkas with a delicious vanilla taste. Heavenly's rich, buttery vanilla flavor. It comes through without coating your taste buds with sugar, which is going to result in more vanilla and less calories. Their website, fivewivesvodka.com. Go check it out if you want. But like I said, just head on down to the liquor store, grab a bottle of this new potato vodka. I don't know how long they're doing it. Maybe they're only doing it temporary. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's available right now. When you go buy a bottle, you're supporting the podcast.
And you're having a great drink, you know?
Exactly. And many thanks to Five Wives Vodka for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. All right, this episode of the podcast is also sponsored by our friends at the Salt Lake Barber Company. You know, I have guys hitting me up all the time. They're asking me, where do you get your beard trimmed? Where do you get your haircut? You always look so nice. Hey, it's because I head on over to the Salt Lake Barber Company. They are located at 10 East 800 South, right on the corner of 8th and Main in the central 9th district of downtown Salt Lake City. They offer haircuts, beard trims, straight razor shaves. They are really top notch. We've had Isaac and Eric actually on the podcast, and I've been lucky enough to get haircuts by both of them. I know a lot of people out there, you haven't tried the old barbershop way of getting your haircut. Go try them out. The Salt Lake Barber Company. They do take walk-ins if they are available, but might I suggest to get a guaranteed appointment, head on over online. We all have the computer in front of us. Open up your laptop, pop out your iPhone, type in saltlakebarberco.com, schedule an appointment. You're going to love it. I mean, I'm serious. The full 9 yards with the haircuts and the hot towels. And
you'll probably enjoy the experience, and you'll look so good because every time Chris gets home, I'm just like, oh, they did such a good job. You look so yummy.
SaltLakeBarberCo.com is their website. Go book an appointment. And you know what? When you go over there to get your haircut or beard trim, let them know you heard about them on I Am Salt Lake podcast. And of course, many thanks to the Salt Lake Barber Company for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. We didn't get into these churros, like what you stuff them with, like because you have different kinds.
So this is what makes and so we make our churros fresh from scratch, the dough, and we can talk about that. But the dough, and then we fry them on demand. So like these churros that I brought in were literally fried, I don't know, 15 minutes ago, and so it makes a big difference when they're fresh and hot. And then we grind our own cinnamon sugar, dust them with that, and then we fill them with happiness, which is what...
That's exactly what they're filled with. I agree. I've had 3 so far.
So,
on par.
Okay, so what are you eating over there, Chrissy?
Okay, I've eaten a salted caramel one.
Yes.
A Nutella pumpkin one.
Yeah, that's kind of the secret sauce.
That's a good. So, and I'm not even like a huge pumpkin person, but it was like a better version of pumpkin pie.
Ooh,
is what I would say. Okay, I'm not a huge churro fan.
Yeah,
I never really have.
Okay.
I know.
Wait, how long? We've been married almost 2 years, Chrissy, and this is what I find out.
But have I ever asked to go find churros in the whole 2 years?
No.
See? So here's my point. all the churros that I've had in America, like you said, they're just kind of, you find them at like Del Taco or now Costco carries them, but they're usually like hard and crunchy and the dough is thin. And then they're just kind of like, I never got why people really liked them, but this is almost like a cronut.
A cronut?
Yeah.
What is a cronut?
Like a donut croissant. It's very like buttery, flaky. It's like crisp on the outside, but really soft on the inside. They're just so good. Like these are really, really good. I'm sorry you can't eat any, Chris, or you choose not to.
I'm going to give you the cowbell for that. There we go.
All I'm saying is I'm probably going to be eating a lot of these now.
Tell us about the cowbell. Scott brought a cowbell with him to this recording.
I will when we launched the business. Once Corn Belly said go, then we had 3 weeks to so we threw a VIP party. Had we known you guys, we would have invited you. It was so fun. Hired 20 people, created a brand, built all of our equipment, got all of the equipment, and one of the trips that I made was to Tijuana to get some stuff for the business. I wanted to incorporate Mexico has been a very important part of my life. I was a missionary for the LDS church there. And then I went back. I've lived there for a total of another year and a half in different times. And the culture has been such an important part of who I am. And I wanted to, and it was inspired from Mexico City. So I thought, let's integrate some really fun elements into what we do. And so even our branding, we wanted to create kind of like an old Mexico feel meets Dean and DeLuca sort of thing. And so when I went down to Tijuana to get some stuff for the business, I remember, I'll never forget, I crouched down in this restaurant supply store in Tijuana, and there was a row of cowbells. I have no idea why they were there at a restaurant supply store, but I'm like, do I need some cowbells?
We always need more cowbells.
And that's exactly the thought that came to my head. And I was like, yes, we always need more cowbell, right? And so I'm like, I don't know how we're going to incorporate this into what we do.
Did you have a fever?
I did not know how we were going to incorporate this into what we did, but I bought 3 cowbells. And it has been such a fun element to our brand. It is now, honestly, when we go to an event, and we never go without the cowbell. There's been 1 or 2 events where it just got forgotten, and we go to, and we're like, oh man, we just feel like.
Is the event ruined?
Well, it doesn't feel complete.
Yep.
If you come by and I'm like, you have really cool glasses, we'll ring the cowbell, your baby's cute, we ring the cowbell, whatever
it just makes it fun and lively.
And you would be shocked to see how people react to a cowbell. And even other people will be in line, they're like, hey, why'd they get the cowbell? What can I do to get the cowbell? And so we'll ring it for them, and they're just like instant endorphin rush,
Yeah.
It's really been a fun element. We use it to celebrate, and we all need more cowbell. Right?
Sure. Now I'm curious, why did you go the catering route versus, if say I was starting this business, I would just automatically think brick and mortar, right? Like an established restaurant type location. Like my mind wouldn't even go to catering.
Right.
So I'm curious, how did you think to even do that?
As I was thinking through the business itself, churros are not yet part of our culture in the United States. We'll get a churro. They're certainly part of Disneyland culture. Everyone goes to, and they eat churros when they're at Disneyland. That's
or you go to Costco and you get a churro.
Or you do it after you're done your trip at Costco.
Yeah, hot dog and a churro.
Exactly. But it's not like a destination thing, like an ice cream or something like that, where you'd go and do it. And the magic of what we do is that they're fresh. And so could you do retail? I think there are some strategic places that retail could work, perhaps in high traffic spots where an impulse buy. People love the churros as an impulse buy at the fair, at the festival. It's also a nostalgic. They remember going to the fair and getting a churro or to Disneyland, for example, or whatever. But it's not yet part of something that you do at the end of after you go out for a movie or go out for dinner. Hopefully someday we'd love to have that be a part of what we do. It played well for what I was trying to do. I wanted to create a business that creates an experience. And so if we can be part of your experience, whether it's your corporate event or your really amazing wedding or a 50th birthday party or a 20th birthday party or sweet 16 or whatever it is. If we can be part of that and help you celebrate in our unique way and do some really cool things with the churros, like customize them. We fill them, like we've got dulce de leche, Nutella, sweet cream. We always cycle through seasonal flavors. So it always makes it fun and fresh and applicable to whatever you're doing. So right now, like you tasted the pumpkin cheesecake, we make from scratch. We literally bake it and then blend it when it's done. And then so it goes inside the churro. We do caramel apple over the holidays. We do like gingerbread cookie butter. We do peppermint cream. Figgy pudding, and then Cinco de Mayo we do an horchata filled churro. You know, that's a huge hit. Because
that sounds so good.
I love horchata.
Oh yeah, well, it's
doesn't?
dang
Right?
good in a churro.
Yeah.
You may need to go off keto for Cinco de Mayo.
So what is your busiest season then? Or are you just kind of busy
holidays? Any holiday, even smaller-ish holidays are very busy for us. Cinco de Mayo is kind of our Christmas. So that week we had 32 events that we catered. Yeah, it was crazy.
So you stay pretty busy catering.
Absolutely, yeah. Wow. The week of Halloween and Day of the Dead, another very big holiday for us. We did about 28 events that week.
That is amazing. But the food truck, you have a food truck.
Now we have a food truck. About 4 months ago, we got a food truck.
Go around to, because I think I saw you're at Macy's?
Yeah.
Is that where the food truck is?
Yeah. So we that's where our food truck is housed. And we kind of have three different, revenue streams that we focus on. One is the catering. So weddings, parties, corporate events. And then the other is our what we call mobile sales. So fairs, festivals, food truck. So kind of all the F's, right? And so we're doing roundups. We'll go to roundups. Companies will hire us to bring our food truck there and do a lunch or a special, celebration, employee recognition, or a team building event that they're doing. But the food truck has been amazing. We can just take it on the road and go anywhere. And then the other is pop-ups. So we do pop-ups at already existing locations. We've done a pop-up at Black Sheep when they were here at Sugar House. We were on their dessert menu. Yeah. We've been at various ice cream places like Rockwell and Provo and Howdy SLC here in Sugar House as well. And right now we're at Macy's.
And what's the address
Honeybee. And for about a year, we were there for the entire time, and then they converted it to a Macy's. So it's on 123rd South in Draper, right by Draper and 13th East.
Okay, so that's kind of down near where Chrissy works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I get to go eat during the day there.
Yeah, so Mondays, Fridays, and Saturdays are when we have our churros there. And it's been an amazing relationship. We've loved being there, and they've been wonderful hosts, and it allows us to kind of have a home base. Sure. So people can come and get churros.
Which is really nice because the people who love your churros are always trying to figure out where they can go get them. And because I know a lot of people who are obsessed with your churros. And they're always like, oh, he just does catering. We need to figure out how we can go get more.
What you need to do is just hire him to be full-time in your office.
That's a good idea.
There we go.
Just a full-on churro bar all day.
So this food truck, is it like a trailer, or is it like, the old FedEx trucks that people get?
It's more like the FedEx truck.
So it's a full-blown truck.
Yeah.
So it's not just something you pull behind a pickup truck or something like that.
It's been, you won't miss it. It's all black with the white pinstripe, just like our aprons.
Did you gut it out and everything? Was it a FedEx truck?
Ironically, it was already equipped for churros. Wow. It was about a year into our business. There was another churro business was started, and they were in business for a couple of months and then wanted to get out of the churro business. And so they were looking to sell, and we said, "Awesome, we'll take it."
That is incredible.
And it was like plug and play. So it was a great. We're very grateful, and it's been wonderful. It's fun to take the truck around and be able to do anything. It helps us, especially because most of our catering events are unlimited mini churros. So like we do churros this size in the little clear plastic shot glasses.
Yeah.
And so that way people can get as many churros as they want. Your guests can try all the flavors. We have some secret menu stuff. And yeah, so
That's what I love about it. You don't have to get one churro. You can try I'm going to try all these different flavors throughout the course of the next hour. But it's so fun.
did you guys try the spicy? I mean, no, you
Well,
didn't.
I did.
No,
I didn't
spicy. Is
So-
it like a savory churro?
Well, I let your listeners in
Is
on
it?
the
Do
secret.
you have one over there?
I have the spice with me.
Oh, okay. So
We could pour it on our tongues and see how it goes.
I want to, before we go too much further and forget,
Yes.
I want to talk about this Churros for Change
Yeah.
that you're doing on the
Absolutely.
27th of November.
Yes.
So we're going to get this episode up before then. So if you're listening to it before, check it out. If you missed it, we'll talk about it and you'll find out about it now, right?
yeah.
So what is it?
So Churros for Change. This is our third annual holiday giving fiesta. Churros for Change is what we've called it. And we do it every Tuesday after Thanksgiving, which is Giving Tuesday worldwide. And the idea is it's always been super important for me to give back to the community and support the efforts of nonprofits. I launched a nonprofit with a group of friends about 10 years ago. So I know how challenging it can be to run and try and make a difference in the world. But you also need funds and recognition and awareness to be able to do that. And so that's where the idea for Churros for Change was born. Let's throw a party, kick off the holiday season, and raise funds and awareness for local nonprofits. Let's inspire and support change makers. That's where the name came from, Churros for Change. So we have live music. We have Joseph Moore and Belle Jewel, amazing local artists. Belle has been on The Voice, and Joseph has this amazing, soulful, anthemic sound to his voice. Both of them are singer-songwriters. Tacos, all you can eat churros. We we're going to have a live art installation there as well. We're going to be painting a mural
wow.
throughout the event as well. Be the change. So really, and it's going to be hosted at Kiln, which is the brand new co-working space, and we will be their first party at the new space in Lehigh.
Do you know the address of it?
Yes, it is on Thanksgiving Way, 2701 Thanksgiving Way.
Boom.
Nice memory.
I was like, oh man, I'm putting him on the spot. He's not going to know the address. So it's on, what is the date of that? It's like
And
the
that's
20,
November 27th.
27th.
And we're doing it in conjunction. The three nonprofits that we're working with, we're teaming up with Arvo Watches, if you know of Arvo.
Yeah, I get their emails.
They're amazing. And they do an annual party as well to raise funds for a local nonprofit called Because He First Loved Us that supports refugees coming to live here in America. And so they do a Christmas party called Christmas for the Kids. And we decided to team up together with them this year for this event. And it's going to be amazing. The kids are going to perform. They have this bucket drum brigade, and it's going to be so cool. So we're teaming with them, and it's going to be, we'd love to have everyone be there. The three nonprofits that we're supporting are Because He First Loved Us, Fight the New Drug, which fights the harmful effects of pornography, and then Warrior Rising, which is a nonprofit that helps recently returned veterans from their military service get on their feet by starting their own businesses.
I love it.
And which
really
is
cool.
oftentimes a really difficult transition from military service, so into the public sector. So
Yeah.
So what time is
private
it?
sector
Did you
is
say
what I
what
meant.
time it was?
It's in the evening. So it's the party itself is from 7 to 10.
Oh.
And you can get all the information you need on our website, sandiablochurros.com. And that's where you can go, and that will direct you to the Eventbrite page where you can purchase tickets. But yeah, we'd love to have as many people possible. Last year we had a really amazing turnout, and we're looking forward to this year. It's a really
and it's a family
awesome.
friendly, right?
It is for kids at heart.
Okay.
And so it's for adults.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I just didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't want someone
it's a
to
school night,
True,
and so we
Get
just
a babysitter and have a good night out.
Just
exactly.
Take the wife or husband or new boyfriend out and for a night on the town.
Totally.
right?
And we have
Tacos and
special
churros.
price. Yeah, tacos and all you can eat churros. And we have special pricing for groups as well as couples. And there we have a silent auction. There's prizes all night long, amazing prizes from Arvo and from local companies, Vibe Socks, and anyway, lots of really cool lots of really cool gifts that we're going to be raffling off and silent auction, big ticket items. So
it sounds like a cool night, and I'll put the link again for that at iamsaltlake.com.
Thank you so
with
much.
This episode. So in case you're driving or something right now and you can't write it down, but it's on your website, like you said,
Yes.
San Diablo Churros.com.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. I think we'll have to go to this, Chris.
I know, it
guys
sounds really fun.
definitely
Make the
should
drive down to Lehigh. But
It's worth it. It'll be worth
so
it.
what do you know now doing this business? You've been doing it a couple of years, like you
Yes.
said. What do you know now that you're like, gosh, I wish I would have known this in the beginning when I started all this? Life would have been a lot easier. Or is there anything? Maybe there's not anything.
Sounds like you're kind of an expert at business
It sounds
by the
like
time
it.
you started
gosh,
it.
not
So,
at all.
Do you think you're ever an expert?
I don't. I mean, I that word always gets people's attention, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I see it on LinkedIn profiles and things, and I feel like I'm always learning, and I feel like there's always so much to learn. And one of the things that I've found in my career and even life is that I was just listening to a podcast from a friend of mine, Henry Amar. He has this podcast, Make It Happen, and he was interviewing Whitney Johnson about disrupting yourself. This idea of like shaking things up, always learning something new, like recognizing where you're at currently and realizing that there's new things to like disrupt yourself and do something different and grow and learn and develop and become your best self. And I really resonate with that. I feel like it's something that has really kind of been a lodestar for my life of trying something new and just going at it with all cylinders firing, you know?
And just sink or swim, right?
Yeah, and sink has happened and failures happened, and but I think throughout all of those experiences, you learn and you take those experiences that are preparatory for what's to come next, and it helps you realize that you don't really know everything, and there always are. There's so much to learn and grow and develop.
Let's kind of switch gears to Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
We have some Salt
A lot
Lake
of
City
Salt Lake City
questions
questions. Ooh, yeah.
that I like to ask
Okay.
people. And when I say Salt Lake City, I mean, obviously the valley.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally. The greater Salt Lake City.
it's kind of
area.
interesting.
Right.
When I think of Salt Lake City, I think of everything, from Draper to, I don't know, where
I know. I mean, I even think
Bountiful
I think of pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, we're lucky in that way.
I mean, yeah.
But I ask this, typically on the podcast, like for somebody even yourself who's been in the area for so long, and I'll let you even go to Utah County since you spent so many years at BYU. If somebody was visiting for the first time, right, they've never been here, they've never experienced anything in this area, what would you tell them to go check out, Scott?
You've got to go up into the mountains.
Sure. Yeah.
You have to. I mean, whatever time of year it is, there's always an interesting, like whether you trail run, I'd trail run down in like South Mountain over like Draper area and things. And the commanding views of the city are really cool. So you can have your like fill of nature and feel like you're out in, and secluded, but then looking out on this amazing expanse of the city that's beautiful. But getting away from the city as well on the Wasatch Back, up in the Park City area. It's so wonderful. If, every once in a while I run into people that have a quick layover at the airport and I'm like, get to Temple Square. I mean, how do you come to Utah and not go to Temple Square?
Yeah.
It's just kind of iconic and a really wonderful feeling, especially with the temple lights coming, the Christmas lights coming up.
Yeah.
Lights on Temple Square, which we're going to be across the street. We're going to be right next to Deseret Book.
Wait, you are the churros
food truck. Yeah, all during the holidays.
Well,
that's Monday, Friday, Saturday.
That's good for all of our listeners to know.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity for downtown folk to come and try you out.
Yeah, we do Mexican hot chocolate and hot apple cider. So, yeah.
Well, guess where I'm going every night during the winter?
And we're going to try some unique churro innovations as well. We're going to be introducing them at Churros for Change. But over the summer, we tried one. We did a churro fried banana split. So we coated each of the halves of banana in churro dough and then deep fried them Coated them in cinnamon sugar, 3 scoops of ice cream, and real whipped cream, real cherries. It's like an epic shared dessert.
That sounds amazing.
It's
a full-size sundae.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yum.
And so we're going to try some kind of along those same lines. We're going to do churro fried things. I mean, I want to tease it a little bit. We're probably going to do, I don't want to say probably because we are going to do them, churro fried Snicker bites.
Ooh.
And Reese's peanut butter cups.
See, and I love Snicker bars.
Okay.
That was like one of my guilty pleasures.
To get you off keto?
Maybe.
Let's make this our goal this year is to get Chris off keto and on to churros.
It's not like
I'm a fan of keto. I mean,
it's not like I have to make a habit out of it. I mean, I try it once. I live a little, right? You only live once.
Churro YOLO.
I mean,
maybe once.
Just do it once. But I used to get the deep fried Snickers at the fair.
Oh yeah.
Oh, really?
Or the deep
were they tempura fried or what?
I can't remember.
Was it just batter?
They would do it, and I don't know.
And it tasted good.
The Twinkie and they had. I think you could get a stick of butter.
You can. You get deep fried butter.
Oh my gosh,
that's a thing.
Well, what about? Okay, I also ask favorite local eating spots. Obviously, your churros, but if you're doing dinner or if you're doing lunch,
I'm a taco guy. I
Mexican
have a taco
food,
Instagram account. That's
Do you
all
really?
I post. Yeah.
What's that account name?
Search for the perfect taco.
Search for the okay.
So I'm on the search for the perfect taco. It's been this lifelong pursuit in my adult life anyway.
Sure.
And so Utah, my current favorite taco places right now are Tacos Mi Caramelo in West Valley. Totally recommend them. They're open on the weekends 24 hours.
No kidding.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And al pastor on the spit, pineapple, homemade tortillas, amazing. If you're looking for a bit of a higher end taco, I would do Oteo in Utah County if you're letting me go across the point of the mountain.
Letting you
just
go
this one time. Just this one time.
We're making an exception.
I mean, it's like carne. It's like skirt steak with shredded green apple on it, and like
Holy
atypical.
cow.
But
Wait, they shred green apple on the taco.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous.
What? I've never even thought about that.
Avocado beet taco that has like 3 types of beets shaved on it. I mean, it's like it is.
It's like gourmet.
It is. Yeah, it's great. Jurassic Taco food truck is amazing. They're going to be at Churros for Change. So yeah. And then a friend of mine is launching, Zelf is launching a taco business as well. And he's, he'll be there at Churros for Change as well. So
wow.
Well, we tacos are my thing. And, those are some of my top places in Utah now.
What would you change anything about Salt Lake, or was there anything that you're just like, gosh, I wish this would be different, or you find the way it is?
I mean, I love wherever I'm at.
Sure.
And there's always things that, when I lived in LA, I'm like, it'd be nice to not be in traffic for 45 minutes to go 3 miles,
Right,
yeah.
So yeah, there are things that I would change.
Anywhere you live, there's going to be things.
but I am, because of Southern California, I'm a total weather wimp. A total wuss. Sure. And so when it starts to get cold like it does now, I don't love the cold.
Yeah, no. Winter is
cold,
something I could do with
and
that.
it's a good thing that cold comes with a purpose here, and you can go up and like play in the snow and ski and cold with a purpose. I'm on board with. When it starts to, like, the logistics of cold, like shoveling. Ain't nobody got time for that. I mean, it was the first winter I was here. My my roommates at the time, they were like, dude, like, can you help us shovel every once in a while? And I'm like, gosh, I don't even think about these things. I'd been living in LA for 10 years. And so I don't think about, like, what I have to work time in my schedule to scrape my windshield off and shovel.
Yeah.
Like,
you got to wake up 2 hours early to get out and shovel, and then make sure you got enough time to get to work.
What is this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are things that I don't love, but and
that's
it's a
why
great place.
We moved. We used to live in a house, and then we were like, let's get back into an apartment. And I'm so excited this winter.
shoveling.
No shoveling for this guy.
What are you going to do with all your time?
I sleep in. No, being downtown though, sometimes you have to like shovel your car out with some of the snow plows. let's run down the list as we kind of wrap this podcast up. I mean, I've had a heck of a time on here. I could have gone another hour with you, Scott.
It's been so fun.
But we'll just have to bring you back through the podcast and get more into the nitty gritty of your company. But let's run down ways for people to reach out and contact you, how they can find you, how they can connect with you more.
Absolutely. We live to wow people, and we love to celebrate whatever event you're celebrating. Make something special for you. All you can eat churro events. You can contact us just on our website, sandiablochurros.com. If you'd like to follow any of our drool-worthy pictures on Instagram or on social media, you can follow us there at San Diablo Churros on all the social platforms.
So you put pictures of all your churros up there on the Instagram. That's a great way for people to come check it out.
Yeah. And let us do something special for you. I mean, we're doing an event just right now. We're coating the churros with Pop Rocks. We have shredded coconut.
Wait, that sounds wonderful.
We call it a firework churro. We do it around 4th of July. So we got to
get that to the
fireworks
kids.
in your mouth.
Oh my gosh. Is that just huge for kids? Do they just freak out?
Kids love it. Adults love it.
Who doesn't love Pop Rocks?
We can have fun too, I guess.
Right.
Pop Rocks remind me of my childhood.
Exactly.
Yes.
It takes you back. You're like, yeah, Pop Rocks, what? And so, like this fireworks show in your mouth. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, we did a charcoal churro for Day of the Dead and Halloween.
Did you dip it in
activated charcoal in the dough?
No
actually,
way.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's actually good for you too. So it's a health food.
Exactly, totally. Yeah, it was basic, and then you fill it with like a berry filling. It's basically fruit salad.
Yeah. See,
totally.
You could
healthy.
live on that and be great.
And obviously, our listeners can hire you to come to their event.
Oh yeah, totally. We do corporate events,
business.
weddings, parties, any party. We go to your home. We've done camping parties. We'll go out. We take our generator out, and
fascinating.
We've been to parties in L.A., Columbus, San Francisco.
Oh wow! So you really travel.
Yeah, we're looking to expand from outside of Utah, and we get hired to do some of these private events in other cities, and it's been we did an event at Peter Thiel's house. He was one of the co-founders of PayPal with Elon Musk.
I knew his name.
You were at a party with Elon?
Well, no, it was Peter. It was I don't know if Elon was there, but it was at Peter Thiel's house,
sure.
And we did. They were having this black and white movie night, Alfred Hitchcock, Strangers on a Train, and so we served our churros on a train. So we got this like plastic, like large train set. We served black churros, charcoal churros with Scream cheese because it was a murder mystery, right? So we want to make something special for and whether it's colors to match an event, or we did a Cuatro de Mayo, May the 4th be with you, party, and we did little lightsaber churros.
Oh my gosh.
We've done like little baby unicorn horns and all sorts of fun stuff.
I just want to work for you guys because that just sounds fun to make all that stuff.
Yeah, we have a lot in our team meetings on Monday. We have a lot of fun coming up with ideas.
It sounds like you have a creative brain.
Yeah, our team's amazing. We have an amazing team, and that's really the churros themselves. They've won Best of State for pastry this year, which is fun. But what I love is when I read the reviews on Google, Yelp, or Facebook, and they're like, "Yeah, your churros are so awesome." Sent from above sort of thing. But your team was amazing. It's super friendly, super professional. They named a churro after this special filling combination, named him after my son. And it was his birthday party, the Ryland Delight or whatever it was, all of that's when for me, I feel like we've done an exceptional job because we're touching people's lives. We're connecting in a meaningful way and making something special for them that hopefully they'll never forget.
Yeah. And you guys bring a presence to the events that you're at, like how you catered the event that we,
the creative
spoke
moments,
at. Yeah. It was there was just an energy that you guys brought that was really exciting. So I can vouch for that.
Oh, thanks. That means a lot.
Oh, and I have one last question.
She always asks a question here to kind of wrap the show up. I don't know. You might have heard it on the podcast.
Your answer better be good because I'm expecting a lot from you.
Oh, gosh.
Would you leave our listeners with one piece of life advice?
I would say, there's so many things that have been swimming around in my head recently with different developments and things that I've been studying and learning and conversations that I've had. I feel like the biggest piece of advice that I would give is to love more and dream bigger. I feel like some of the thoughts that I've had recently over the past several months are that, and I'm a dreamer. I like to think big, but I realize that I think that we put limitations. Maybe I should speak for myself. I think I put some limitations on even big dreams that I may have. Well, but that's like, but that's really too big, or that's like, could I really do that? Like change the world? I mean, it's our mission at San Diablo. We want to create the best food experience in the world. I mean, that's a pretty lofty, audacious statement to make. I mean, we're a small growing churro company in Utah, and we want to create a global brand that makes a difference in the world and makes the world a better place one churro at a time. We want to deliver deep fried happiness. Our vehicle just happens to be the churro. Mm-hmm. But I believe that all of us have unlimited capacity to make the world a better place. And so my advice to myself and to all of us would be to dream bigger and to love more. If we can incorporate those sorts of principles and mindset into everything that we do, whether we're, at the store getting whatever, running into someone, whether it's literally running into someone or running into someone at the, just kind of connecting with them, I think that there's unlimited opportunity for us to make an impact in the world and make the world a better place. And I think that we need to put aside the limitations that we put fetters and limitations on our dreams. And that's why I honor you guys and admire what you've done with the podcast and how you've created this community that celebrates all things Utah and especially all things Salt Lake. You can feel your passion for it, and that's contagious, you know, and this is a big dream. You can feel that, and it's wonderful to see someone in their element and achieving their dreams. And so that would be what I would say. I think counsel I would give both myself and other people is to love more and dream bigger.
I love it.
That's perfect.
We can't recommend enough for our listeners to reach out, connect with you, go on to Facebook, go on to Instagram, send them a message. I always say, reach out. I mean, tell Scott, hey, I listened to this episode. I want to come find your churros during the holidays, but I'm serious. I'd love to bring you back through here, maybe spring or summer, kind of continue a little more business talk and because again, I know we skimmed the surface.
Right. There's so much more to talk about.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for allowing me to be here. And it's so wonderful connecting with both of you. And you're doing something really special. And I'm grateful to be a part of it.
Many thanks again to Scott Porter for joining us on this episode of the podcast and sharing his story. You can head on over to our website, iamsaltlake.com/356 for all the links mentioned on this episode's conversation.
All right, guys, let's talk about our new recording spot. I know we mentioned it at the beginning of this episode, so let's talk about it here, Christina. We're in the back of Empire Merchandise. This is located at 680 South State Street. This is actually my brother Rob and sister-in-law Jeannie's shop, and so we're truly grateful that they're letting us set up this podcast studio here. So go support them, go support their shops. Empire Merchandise is the place to go for all your vape juice, mods, everything vape related. Great place for holiday gift shopping. I know that's coming up here, unfortunately. I'm sorry, guys. And we have I Am Salt Lake t-shirts here. Well, they're not here quite yet. They probably will be here in a few days, I would imagine. So go check them out, 680 South State Street. It's actually the old Radio Shack, if you remember that. It's right next door to the Beehive Music Venue. Go check them out and tell them that you heard all about them on I Am Salt Lake podcast. So this was an idea. I heard this on another podcast. Honestly, I can't even remember what podcast it was, where they gave a weekly recommendation. It could be anything going on in each other's lives or something that we really enjoyed that week. And so what is your recommendation this week, Christina?
My recommendation, it's more local based. So sorry for those of you who are out of state. But we actually got a chance to go walk around Trolley Square this week for, they have the holidays all set up. There's pop-up shops. And we got to go visit Bitters Labs.
Great store, by the way.
Oh, great store. Oh my gosh, I wanted to buy everything there. You had to stop me and be like, wait, Christmas is coming. Don't buy everything you want. But it was so great to be able to walk around. And there's something about Trolley Square, especially during the holidays, and how they have all these great local shops that are popping up. And I just encourage everyone to even go check it out, walk around, just enjoy it.
It's a beautiful mall.
It really is.
I don't think
love
it gets as much recognition as it should.
Exactly.
My recommendation for the week, guys, is actually a podcast. It's Old Coots Giving Bad Advice. They've actually only released 2 episodes, and it's just a fun listen. Really quick, 20, 30 minutes long. They're releasing an episode, I guess, every Thursday. Go check them out. If you saw them at the farmer's market, then you're going to love it even more. It's just a bunch of old people sitting around giving advice.
It's so great.
Old Coots giving bad advice.
Yeah, I believe that's the name. That's awesome. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you again to our amazing sponsors, Five Wives Vodka, Limitless Labs, and the Salt Lake Barber Company.
Also, many thanks to our awesome Patreon supporters. These are our listeners that are like, hey, you know what? We love you. We want to make sure the lights are on. So we would love it if you would consider supporting the show by becoming a Patreon supporter. You can head on over to patreon.com/IamSaltLake. That's patreon.com/IamSaltLake and become a supporter. Even throw $1 our way each week.
Every little bit helps. And you can send us an email to say hello at hello@IamSaltLake.com. If you are still old school and you want to send us letters and packages, you can send us anything you want, just not anything bad, to P.O. Box 4412, Salt Lake City, Utah 84110.
You guys have a great week. Have a good Thanksgiving if you're listening to this before Thanksgiving. Get out and enjoy the city, support local, and we're going to see you on the next episode.
And good night, Grammy.